Hello, good day, everyone. I am going to share a brief message on something that I received in a download. And the question to my guides was, how is it that people can begin to live their desired reality? Like, break it down for me in the simplest terms, the simplest way. And what I was told was to just share my own experience. And so they gave me the step by step, and I'm gonna put that here on the screen right now, and I'll read it to you. And then essentially, I will talk through each of the steps and how exactly I was able to obtain these. So, first, we have you must become aware of your programming, traumas, beliefs, and fears. Then you must build security for yourself financially and environmentally. Then you must pursue your passions. Then you must turn your passions into your source of security. Live life the way you want, and you will attract love, abundance, and experiences. Then you will help others do the same. This is how to break free of the cycle. What this is the blueprint as to how you can begin to live your desired reality. So, you must first become aware of your programming, traumas, and beliefs. This is something that I came to the realization of many years ago. And so I started with journaling. I started with doing research into ways that I can begin healing. And this led me on a beautiful spiritual journey, a beautiful journey of self discovery. Know thyself is really what you should be doing at this time. You should really be understanding what traumas are holding you back. What beliefs have you developed that are not your own? What fears do you have? Speaking of fears, I have created a course that I'll be sharing in my community regarding the 7 seated fears. And I'll just briefly share my notes here so that you can see what to expect. But essentially, we have the 7 seated fears right here on this side. And so essentially, I'll go through all of those and help people truly understand how fear is one of the biggest things that holds us back from living our desired reality. So you must first become aware of your programming, your trauma, your beliefs, and your fears. Emphasis on that. Then you must build security for yourself financially and environmentally. So we live in a realm where finances are a key motivator and a key factor to the well being of many populations. Many people rely heavily on their source of income in order to survive. This is how it is. However, it doesn't have to be something that holds you back. This could be something that you can use to your advantage and take into consideration that abundance is all around us. All money is currency, and all currency is it's energy. It's a frequency of abundance. And as you go further and deeper into your journey, you'll begin to see how this whole cycle works in tandem, and how once you begin to work on one, the other begins to assimilate into your reality. So I'm going to put this back up here just so that we can have it as a guide. And so as you begin to work on yourself, as you begin to remove the blockages, as you begin to work on your programming and your trauma and your fears, you'll start to see that things that once were opportunities that you might have rejected or things that you might have turned down, you're now starting to see them for what they truly are. They truly are a flow and currency of abundance coming towards you. So you can't really see this because you're clouded by the traumas and the fears that have been following you for so long. So the way that I like to envision this is think of your mind, right? And it's just covered in all this muck and it's foggy. And this could be quite literally or figuratively because a lot of people also literally suffer from foggy brain fog, right? And that has to do with the fact that they may need to detox or may need to change their diet, or they're just in an environment that is not conducive to their health. So going back to the second thing, then you must build security for yourself financially. Let's start with that. Financially, meaning if you are in a hole like I was when I came into this realm, constantly being told, we're broke or we don't have it or that's for the rich or whatever the case is, and believing that I wasn't able to obtain financial abundance, I carried that out into my adult life, into my reality, and it began to replay this cycle back to me that reaffirmed that. So once you start to remove your blockages and you start reprogramming your mind to believe that you are abundant because you are, you'll start to see that there are financial opportunities for you all around. And as we go later, down the list, you'll see that at first it doesn't have to be from a place of passion. I recommend developing a skill and knowing that wisdom and knowledge and skill are what it's going to help you obtain the material wealth that we all seek in this realm. This material wealth is what you're going to then use to be able to pursue your passions. It's going to create a system of material abundance, a material cushion, if you will, so that you can go and pursue your passions freely and without any strings attached or without any fear attached. And so this is why they mention that financially you must create some abundance and security for yourself. This also has a lot to do with the root chakra and feeling secure and your sacral and being able to pursue creative passions. And then environmentally, so this is where I go deeper into the environmental piece of this. This doesn't just mean your external environment, although that is extremely important. But in order for you to begin changing your external environment and recognizing things that no longer serve you vibrationally on a frequency level, you also need to change your environment internally. So if you are not exercising, you need to start getting outside. You need to start taking daily walks. You need to start moving your body, movement, allowing the energy to flow, allowing it to break up stagnant energy. And as you start to do that, you start to see that abundance and higher vibrations and frequency start to flow through you easily instead of coming in and then being blocked at the head or being blocked at the throat or the chest, right? So you need to start moving. You need to start assessing and changing your diet to one of a high vibrational, high frequency diet. You have to start eating intuitively. I don't push any particular diet because we're so different, but changing your environment internally does mean not putting in things that are not meant to go inside of your body. So this also includes music. This also includes people, places, things that you should not be consuming because they're not conducive to raising your frequency and your vibration. Diet is a really big one, and I like to call it a live it because you want to be switching your diet from a diet to a live it, something that's going to make you feel like you're alive, make you feel abundant, make you feel energized after you consume whatever it is that you're eating. If you're just starting out on this journey in particular, try to go for things that have very little ingredients listed on the label. If you are going to buy packaged and processed foods, make sure that you're able to read at least 80 to 90% of the label. So that way you know that what you're consuming is natural as possible. Eventually you want to get to the point where you are eating foods that do not contain labels. You want to be eating organic, whole foods, hopefully foods that you've grown yourself or foods that you've been able to obtain from a local farmer's market. I understand that we're not all there yet, so just know that as you start your journey, you'll progress into that. So financially, environmentally, so important for you to begin changing your reality, changing your frequency so that you can become a perfect match to what it is that you truly desire. Then you must pursue your passions. Once you get to a good point where you're like, wow, I have created abundance, material abundance for myself. I have a great cushion for myself, and if you have a family, for your family as well. This doesn't mean that you have to wait until this point to begin pursuing your passion, because I think what a lot of people do is they wait, and then once they are finally in a position to where they can pursue their passion full time, they're unclear of what that even looks like. So my recommendation is, as you begin to work on yourself, and if you have to obtain a 9-to-5 job in the process, or if you go do some freelancing, or you do something on the side to build that financial security, you are also simultaneously working on developing whatever your passion is. And not everyone's passion is to be an entrepreneur, but if you can, turn your passion into a business, even better. But if your passion is to, help people, and that means being in a hospital, then you are able to set yourself up to go to medical school or to take the necessary courses and classes that require you to get to where you want to be. But a lot of this people put off because they say, they don't have the time. But really, what they don't have is that internal energy, that life force that's pushing them towards their passion and their dreams and their goals. And so, following this process will help you obtain that. Once you are able to pursue your passion in whatever capacity that looks like, then after that, you must turn your passion into your main source of security. So I was rereading the Emerald Tablets, and one of the things that Toph said was that he received from the seven gods was man is to work. And I think over the millennium and the aeons, we interpreted that incorrectly. What you should really be doing is that once you've found your passion, that is your gift to humanity. And you must work within your gifts, and it will not feel like work, but it will feel like you are fulfilling something deep within you. And that is the part that you want to get to. And yes, we can adapt it to modern day technology and modern day society. However, ultimately, you want to be doing something that is coming from the heart center, something that feels like you're in alignment. So that is what is meant by, man is to work. Man is to work in their passion. And from there, abundance will flow naturally. So turning your passion into your main source of security shouldn't feel like a job. It shouldn't feel hard to do. And it shouldn't be forced because you've worked on that previous step of building and securing yourself financially and environmentally. You can then, after a couple of years, in our human years, you can then sit back and turn your passion into your main source of security, not from a place of desperation. That is the key here, because you want to slowly come into alignment with what it is you're supposed to be doing. Because think about all the years that we've been out of alignment. Just as long as it took us to get out of alignment is not as long as it's going to take us to get back in, but just think of that amount of time. And that is essentially what we're undoing here. So it will require some work. It will require some dedication, some consistency, etc. And then live life the way you want, and you will attract love, abundance, and experience. So once you are operating in your passion and you've created security and you've created a life that you've envisioned for yourself, you'll start to see that you are flowing as one with the universe. You will see that everything begins to come towards you. You are open to receiving because you are in flow, you are in alignment with what it is you are here to do. A lot of people are living against what it is that they came here to do. They are going against, they're turning away. There's too much fear. They've been traumatized, and they've kept themselves stuck in a reality that is not what they want, and therefore they will perpetuate this experience that constantly feeds back to them exactly what it is they fear or what they do not want to happen. So when you decide to make that shift and you start changing what it is that you're inputting, your habits, your beliefs, you start reprogramming, you start eating intuitively, you start eating lightly, you start taking control of your health, you start consuming knowledge that is beneficial to your growth and expansion, you are in alignment with love. You are in alignment with the highest frequency there is, and that is love. And with love comes abundance. With love attracts experiences and opportunities that will help perpetuate what it is that you are. As within, so without. And so that's also where that saying comes from. And in my lecture on the 7-seated fears, I will go into how each of the fears are associated with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is essentially what I'm explaining here. And then in addition to that, we are also talking about the chakras. So each of these have a place, and it goes so much deeper. And so I want to spend a lot of time on each one of the fears and helping people understand why these fears exist in order to keep us stuck in that reality that I was talking about that we don't want, and how to shift out of that and begin moving towards alignment and abundance, because it is your birthright. And lastly, then you will help others do the same. This is so, so important. When I discuss Maslow's hierarchy of needs, there originally were only five things that he mentioned in his philosophy, and that was physiological needs, safety needs, esteem, love and belonging, and self actualization. And so, as you can see on my list there, I've mentioned those five in some form or fashion, right? I've added two more that I believe he left out. And I think that's because maybe if had he had more years of study and more years of service, he would have understood this. So the next one, the next level up after self-actualization, after you have turned your passion into your main source of security, is service. This is where you help others do the same. Service is so important because after all the years of experience gathering, of knowledge, of going through the trauma and being programmed and then reprogramming yourself and actively changing your reality, the next step is to be of service, to utilize your passions to help others heal and to help others rise out of the darkness, to help others rise out of their unwanted reality into their desired reality. You don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to be, you don't have to be someone who is constantly on social media, whatever. If that's not you, then that's okay. But what if your passion is just creating art? What if your passion is just walking down the street and, uplifting people who may seem down? And you can find a way to monetize that, and you can find a way to do that full time while making sure that all of your physiological and safety needs are met. What if your passion is playing basketball? And so you have developed yourself into this being, into a body that is able to do that. And now you're helping others do the same. You're teaching children, you're coaching. There are so many infinite creative ways that you can live out your passion and provide physiological and safety needs for yourself and your family while also being of service to others. This is where you then give back the gift that you were able to receive, and in turn, it creates more and more abundance. Do you see this cycle, right? This is so, so important for people to understand that once you've achieved a level of success, whatever that looks like for you, because everyone's version of success is different, but once you've achieved a level of peace, abundance, success, your job is to give back. Your job is to help others do the same. So I'll take a quick pause there for a tea break. So after service, I have divine union. And this correlates with the last point that I have here, which is this is how we break out of the cycle. So once you've lived your life and you've come to a point where you are now able to be of service of others and you've seen all of the abundance that has come from that alone, think about all of the inspiration and the creativity that comes from being of service to other people. It's infinite. Not only do you win, but the people that you are helping service win, and it helps to raise the collective vibration, the collective consciousness. And you may decide, hey, I love this so much, I want to come back and do it again and again and again until everyone has been lifted out of the lower vibration into the higher consciousness. That may take a couple lifetimes, who knows? Or maybe you'll choose for this to be your last lifetime. Whatever it is that is your calling, whatever your soul is calling for, no matter what it is, at the end there is always divine union. And divine union can look so different for many people as well, but after service comes divine union. You can have this divine union living here on earth. You can have this divine union in the next life. You can have it in the afterlife, whatever you believe in. Divine union is always the goal. Once you have done all of these steps, it's inevitable that you will achieve divine union. And this can look like source just operating fully through you, you operating through source, floating through time, becoming a master manifester, manifesting whatever you desire, doing whatever you desire, understanding and truly living the fact that you can have, be, and do anything you want. That is divine union. Okay. And so with that, I will close this transmission, but I appreciate you all so, so very much. And if you are looking to understand more about the seven-seated fears that go so, so deep into the human psyche and deep into our generational trauma and our lineage, our DNA, I want you to understand that the first step towards being liberated is awareness. And so I will be sharing these seven-seated fears and I will be breaking them down from a psychological perspective, so utilizing modern science as well as using the ancient chakra system. And so if you're looking forward to that, please, please, please feel free to check out the link down below. Join the Sol and Luna community where I will be sharing these courses and these lectures in within the community. And if this is something that interests you, just know that there's so, so much more to come. And I truly appreciate you. Thank you. Until next time.